Hi, I'm Michael Yorba, CEO Money TV. Thanks for joining us. I've got Avrohom Gottheil, founder, Ask the CEO, on the show with us today. All right, Avrohom, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Michael.
All right, my pleasure. Give us some background on you before we get into the talking points, and then I want to talk about entrepreneurship and how shifting the mindset from employee to entrepreneur is something that just comes natural to you, and you can share it with our audience.
Sure. So I come from a 20-year background in the telecom industry where I help businesses from installations of their office communication systems, meaning their phone systems and contact centers, as well as consulting with companies about how to build and develop their communication infrastructure. And telecom has gone through a bit of an evolution over the last couple of years with the advent of mobile technology. And I've been looking around for different industries to evolve my career as well, coming from telecom. And one of the industries that I've really been attracted to is IoT and artificial intelligence, which seems to be a very natural progression. So I started getting into IoT, started working with companies that develop APIs for IoT and AI. And that's when it came to me that, there is no place where people can go to learn about this technology without being bombarded with a sales pitch or call to action or without having to pay for courses.
Or not being able to understand what they're trying to explain to you because the people that have invented this are so deep into it that it's hard to come back to make it common sense and find a path to higher education in this. And that's been my experience, and I'm deep into what you're talking about. So please, keep going.
Exactly. That the jargon and buzzwords, that's also very prevalent in today's vernacular.
Right.
So that's when I realized that, there is a need for a platform where people can go to, people just like me who were looking into another industry, looking for another way to evolve their career, or even technology professionals that are learning about new technology. I mean, let's face it, technology is changing so much. I mean, just a year ago, robotics was almost science fiction. And today, you've got robots everywhere. Same thing with IoT. Even a year ago, you didn't hear that much about connected technology. Now today, everything's already connected. So in just a short period of time, technology has evolved so much where people just can't keep up with this stuff.
I agree with you. You need AI to understand AI.
There you go, right?
Right.
I mean, job seekers are utilizing AI to look for jobs. And same thing with, recruiters. So that's when I came up with the idea to develop this platform called Ask the CEO. Let's go straight to the top. Let's talk to the business owners. Tell us about your business. What are you doing? Why do you exist? And tell us about not the technology per se, but the business problems that your company helps solve.
That's a good way to go. I'm very interested in what you're doing. Let's drill down on that rather than just say it and leave it there. What are you doing to separate the CEOs that come to you and help them do better, and then being able to take the mentorship that you would garner from just talking to them, and then spread it amongst the other people that you talk to? Let's talk about that, because that's real world solutions.
Exactly, and that is very symbiotic because, like you said, number one, I help some of these CEOs, and then I learn from them as well, and that helps me. The value that I provide to these companies, many CEOs, well, let's just say CEOs are very good at doing their job. They're running their business.
Some better than others, but
yeah. Not everybody knows how to communicate what they do in a way that connects with people.
Right.
One of the things that I do offline before the interview is that I have a one-to-one conversation with many of them, and we review what it is we're going to discuss. Not necessarily questions and answers, but I coach them on what it is I'm looking to get out of this conversation. Mm-hmm. And I'm always looking at it from the perspective of how can I help promote them as a thought leader, as an industry leader, not just another company that's looking to sell their products, but as an industry leader. And the way I define an industry leader is somebody who teaches, somebody who educates the public. They're here to perform a service to the community. And in reality, that is what they want to do. So I sit with them and I coach them on how to do that. And then at the same time, I'm thinking about my audience. What are they looking to get out of it? So I connect the two of them, and I help guide these CEOs in order to deliver that powerful message, which will not only resonate with the audience, but also help make them look better.
Now, there's got to be some process to this, rather than just saying that you have a conversation with them. I mean, you've got to have a guided path to these are the basic steps, and then you can spar off onto different aspects once you get to know the person and where their strengths and weaknesses are, right?
Exactly. And, and the term process, I like the way you say that, because that is a great segue into the conversation about entrepreneurship, because it's really one and the same. There is a process. I have a list of questions that I put together, which is a basic format for my show. Mm-hmm. And the discussions that I have with the CEOs follow that framework. Okay, so
walk us through it. You don't have to give away the secret sauce, but just give us some kind of a sample of what you're talking about.
Okay. I'm looking to get two basic things from this conversation. Number one, share with the audience what problems you solve. Number two, and this really goes to my evolution from an employee to an entrepreneur, right. Share with us your inspiration, your best practices. What are some of the things that makes you a great CEO, a great executive, a great entrepreneur, so that the audience can learn from that as well. And that guides my conversation with the CEO. So for example, you're a widget manufacturer. You make connected widgets. That's very nice. What do they do? Okay. How does that help someone? Give me some use cases. And then we discuss the use cases. And then I guide the conversation in order to follow those use cases. So, for example, when we talk one-on-one, I would ask you some questions about your business and about these use cases. And then I may say something like, okay, when we start the conversation and I ask you to tell us a little bit about your company, what does it do? Start talking about how you help businesses doing X. I help businesses because I noticed that there's a need in the industry for widgets that perform security. And I've helped businesses save money because these widgets will take the place of all these cameras, and they are highly secure so that their business is protected. And they tell a story about that. And once we've gone through that, I would ask them, all right, tell me, how did you get started in this? What was your decision to start this business? For example, if it was a founder, what keeps you motivated every day? So that people that are entrepreneurs that are listening to this will go, hey, that really connects. I really connect with that. I think I can do that too, or I just learned something from that. And then there's the $1 million question: where do entrepreneurs go wrong? Many small businesses fail in the first year. So what did you do right that your business was able to succeed? And what advice would you have for entrepreneurs starting their business?
I would also like to know where you went wrong so that I don't duplicate the same mistake. I think that's a very big question too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's my basic process, how I construct a conversation and how that interview flows.
Got it. Where do you ask the CEO in 5 years from now? What do you think is going to happen? Where are you going to take it? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Okay. So where I am right now I'm focusing on distribution and creation of new content. Within the next 5 years, so by next year, I'm actually going to be reaching out to sponsors to perform sponsored content. So, for example, you may have a data center that's looking to attract SaaS customers, IoT-based SaaS customers. They may want to do a segment on IoT, or a data security company that may want to do a segment on cybersecurity, and so on. So over the next 1 or 2 years, I'll be focusing on building up the sponsorship of Ask the CEO. And then somewhere around 2021, 2022, I'll be looking to put on industry events.
What's your ideal candidate?
So there are different candidates for the different functions. Let's take our listeners, for example, our subscribers. They would be technology professionals or technology enthusiasts who want to learn about cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, connected cars, robotics, or even the C-suite decision makers that want to learn about their options. What's new? What new technology is out there, and what options are available? Or even the entrepreneur who just wants to learn about how people build businesses.
What kind of people have come across your show already?
We've had a lot of startups. My show does happen to attract startups, so I've had startups. I've also had directors. Early on in the show, I was less discriminating about who I brought on. I had authors, I've had business coaches, but now for the most part, we have CEOs of startups or companies that have been around for a few years.
Tell me about building a network.
Yeah, so here's the interesting thing, right? Building a network, I mean, that's the new buzzword, right? Everybody's building a network, but what is a network? If you think about social media is real life that's scaled. You could reach the world with a click of a mouse. Right. In my opinion, building a network is the same as meeting people in real life, because that's really what it is. You're meeting people, you're building relationships. Okay.
I found that that's really the most important part that a lot of people forget. It's not a click. It's not just another name on a spreadsheet. You got to really open up and get other people to open up with you so you do build the relationship and it goes someplace. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's so interesting. I do my outreach daily on LinkedIn and Twitter, where you start with a click. Yes, that's how it all starts with. But then the idea is to connect and have real world conversations. And I find that many people are looking for the transaction as opposed to taking the time and building that relationship, which is more strategic.
Because let me tell you, the transaction isn't coming to your funeral.
No, exactly. And the transaction's not going to be there for you when you're a little more expensive than the next guy.
Exactly. No, that's the a good point made. All right, we're going to, Avrohom, I want to make sure I got your name correct because it's a little different from me, but am I pronouncing it right?
Perfect.
Avrohom, we're going to talk again and again and drill down into these. Today's show is just about getting the introduction out there, and then we can start developing more of a relationship with each other as we do more videos together. I want to thank you for being a guest on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Michael.
My pleasure. All right, you've been watching CEO Money with Michael Yorba, and we'll be right back after these messages.